Buenas noches, mis amigos, y bienvenidos to another Thursday night live stream. That's all the Spanish you're going to get from me today, but hey, something, right? Happy Cinco de Mayo, everyone. I hope y'all have been having a wonderful evening full of drinks and festivities and family and friends. And tonight we're going to keep the party going because I wanted to try something completely different for my channel because I love trying new things. Now, I'm not necessarily new to the spirit. Actually, I've fallen in love with it a lot recently, but it's something that I really haven't talked about much on this channel, at least this year. So tonight we are drinking Mezcal, which is a spirit that a lot of people may not know much about. It's very, very similar to tequila. Actually, tequila is a Mezcal, but we'll get into all that later. I know some of you may be new to Mezcal. So if so, we're going to learn a little bit here tonight. I'm going to learn a bit because I had to do a good bit of research on these different varietals of the plant that we're actually using, the agave plant, because every single one of these mezcals uses a different variety or species of the agave plant. So really, really excited to get into those. I see a few people here in the channel. I'll give a couple shout outs first before we get started. I see Sugar Kitty was here first along with Zophar. I also see Fred who in the chat who was actually his birthday. So everyone wish Fred a happy birthday. It was Zophar's birthday recently too, and it's my birthday on Saturday. So it's a very, very big birthday time. But thank y'all for hanging out this Thursday evening. So I'm getting my birthday weekend started a little bit early. I see, who else do I see here in the chat? Donnie is here. So Donnie actually gave a wonderful margarita recipe. Actually just made this right before the stream. So Donnie, feel free to share your recipe in the chat for anyone that is curious. I did make one little modification. I added about a ½ ounce of agave nectar. I like my margaritas a little bit sweeter. Other than that, this is delicious. So I'm getting started with that. Of course, this is made with mezcal as well. It's the same mezcal we're going to be drinking tonight. I like having a little bit of a smoky twist on a margarita. So salud, and thank y'all for tuning in this wonderful evening. I love a good margarita. I know Donnie and I were joking about premixes earlier, which, you know, I do love making them from scratch, definitely. But I always have been looking for like a good, quick premix for like, you know, whether a party or just bring it down to the beach or something like that. So haven't quite found the brand that I love yet, but but we'll see. It's always better from scratch, though. I see Eric in the house. Good evening, Eric. Hope you're doing well. Who else is here? Getting caught up. Lilith Morgan. What's up, Lil? It's no longer Cinco de Mayo in Australia, but you know what? She's just celebrating my birthday. That's all it is. Swan's in the house. Happy birthday, everyone. Yes, I know. It's like birthday season. Emily Chambers, another amazing mod. Donnie's a mod here along with Emily. And Brandon, I'm sure he's going to be here sometime, unless he just doesn't want the agave spirits. Yes, please hit the thumbs up if you are ready to learn some more. I know this is a little bit different. I know, you know, the turnout might not be the same as normal. I get it. Some people are scared to venture outside of bourbon or whiskey, Perry. But tonight is all about learning and trying new things. A lot of these are brand new to me. I've only tried the main one we're drinking tonight, which I should probably mention what we're drinking. So we are drinking, thanks to our friends over at Impex Beverages. I reached out to them and said like, hey, I want to do a Cinco de Mayo stream coming up soon. And they actually provided these samples in this bottle for review. So tonight we are drinking Mal de Amor. Now this is a mezcal, which, like I said, I'll get into what a mezcal is in just a little bit. I've never seen this brand before, but it's one of the ones they import into the United States. And there's a lot of info on the back, but that's not going to make sense till we talk about what it is. So I'll get into that. So they did provide these samples for tonight's stream. So I'm very, very thankful for them. Lil says cute cup. I know, I got this at Disney. It's like for Coco. Not technically a margarita cup, but I love it. I have to bring it out occasionally. Whiskey Mountain's in the house. Happy Cinco de Mayo. Yes, good to see you, Adriana. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm hoping to not butcher all of my Spanish pronunciations because that was my intro was in Spanish, but like everything else I'm going to say is going to be completely butchered. I tried to look up how to pronounce certain things, but we're just gonna roll with it. Yeah, there's Donnie's recipe right there if y'all are curious. 3 parts of a good tequila. 2 parts of a curacao. I used the dry curacao that he mentioned right there. Yeah, and then I added like half. Oh, I'll get to that next. And then he says 1 part of fresh lime juice. So I did 3 ounces of tequila, 2 ounces of dry curacao, and then 1 ounce lime, and then ½ an ounce of agave syrup because I like mine a little bit sweeter. Whiskey Burgers in the house. What's up? Good to see you. Thank y'all for tuning in. I know this is going to be a little bit different tonight, but and Chris is here as well. Good to see all of y'all. So, like I said, this brand is Mal de Amor. Now, can anyone tell me? Oh, I feel like, why do I feel like I'm being a teacher right now? Like, I'm not, okay. This is not a class. But so that basically means it's the expression like heartbreak or like sadness of the heart. So that's kind of their branding here. You see, they're like have the little broken heart on their logo. But it's really really cool. But so before we get into the brand and all that, I just want to talk a little bit about what mezcal is. So it is the best way to put it for whiskey drinkers like ourselves is all tequila is mezcal, but not all mezcal is tequila. Y'all familiar with like something similar to that? So tequila is actually a type of mezcal. It can only be made in one region or one state of Mexico, whereas mezcal can be made in like 9 different states. They are both agave spirits. They're from the actual same base, spirit that makes the distill. But the way they do it is a little bit different. So I have some info I have pulled up here just to make sure. So tequila can only be made with blue Weber agave, which is a variety, or I think they're pronounced like a maguey. I may be wrong about that. I think like they're called like a species. They call it like a maguey de agave or something like that. So it's like the species of agave, and the blue Weber or Weber blue agave is for tequila. The good tequila is made with 100% blue agave, so that's important to watch out for. Donnie and Fred know what's up when it comes to that. But mezcal can be made from up to 50 different species of the agave plant. So we're going to be trying a bunch of different ones tonight from different species of that plant, which I'm really excited. I've never done that before. And the way that they make it, basically, they typically with tequila, they do use some more advanced technologies. They kind of do some modern methods like what do I have here? Like they do like pot still distillation with tequila. Mezcal is very, very traditional. So a lot of times it's made in copper pots, like that's or copper or clay pots that are in the ground that are heated by fire. And it's just stirred. The actual like not just the meat of the agave plant are put into the pot, but actually the fibers and the leaves. For mezcal, you can put all that in there, stirring it up and distilling it. It's really cool. I have a video I'm going to play in just a little bit. That's going to show a little bit more of that process in case, like I said, if you're unfamiliar with it, you're used to the bourbon distilling process, similar, but a little bit different. So those are the major differences. Like, again, mezcal is a lot broader of a category. Tequila is, of course, the mezcal, but mezcal is really, really interesting because it can be so many different varieties of this plant. Fred's okay. And by the way, y'all feel free to jump in if I get something wrong. Again, I'm no expert on this. I've just been really appreciating and enjoying it over the past couple of years. I guess the past year and a half, I would say. But I'm always learning more. So he says tequila can actually be made in several states. I did not know that. I thought it had to see. Is that kind of like when people say like, oh, well, bourbon can only be made in Kentucky? Is that kind of like the same thing? Because I feel like I've heard them in Jalisco say that tequila can only be made here. So maybe not. So anyways, make sure I see Live Wire Whiskey here. By the way, Mike Stahl is our newest patron. Big shout out to him. Thank you so much for supporting the show. If you guys enjoy the show tonight or anytime, feel free to check out my Patreon, patreon.com/bourbonbites. For as little as $2 a month, you can support the channel, and things like $5 get you access to our monthly hangout, $10 the after party hangout, which will take place right after this stream. And of course, the higher tiers get you access to some monthly subscription box samples. So if y'all are interested in checking that out, but thank you again to Mike Stahl for becoming a patron of the show. Just make sure I didn't miss anyone up here earlier today. We have a lot of tequila, or we have a lot of mezcal to get through tonight, so I don't want to take too long on the intro. But Bourbon's in the house. I bought an expensive tequila tonight. What a mistake. Oh, okay. Well, these sometimes tequila they play a lot of marketing basically. So mezcal is a lot more artisanal, I guess that's the word. It's very traditional, and I really, really like that about that. So again, we're going to see a video from the actual distillery that's going to show you a little bit of how they do things there. The distillery, by the way, the word for distillery in there's 2 different words for distillery in Mexico. There's palanqueros, which means producers. So they're palanqueros of mezcal. But there's another word for it, which is the word that you see right down here. Or actually, you know what? That might actually be that word. But it's let me find it. Mezcalares. Man, there's a specific name for it. I lost it on my notes here, but that's what they call themselves. They're like Maestro Mezcalares, I think is what it is. Like Master Mezcal Distiller. Again, could be totally wrong about that, but so anyways, like I said, let's go in and play this video so you can take a look at how they do it at our Mal de Amor. I was trying to think of the word again to put before it, but you'll see it in the video. All right, y'all check this out. It's actually really cool. I did kind of steal this from their YouTube page, so hopefully they don't mind. I promise. I am tonight's dedicated to them. So it's about like a minute and a half. So hope you guys enjoy. All right. So as y'all saw, there is a lot of manual labor that goes into actually making mezcal. So they have to not only actually, harvest the agave plants, which a lot of time they use a horse-drawn like wheel that kind of digs it up and crushes it up. But they also have to, they just have to. There's the whole process of milling it to obtain the juice, and that's rich in sugar. They have to ferment it. They have to distill it. All this stuff affects how the mezcal tastes. And some of these we'll learn are actually aged different amounts of time. So we're going to see how age actually affects them as well. I'm really excited to see not just how the different varieties of it affect it, but how the aging and how old the actual mezcal is before they harvest it is going to have a big impact too. So hopefully you guys have something poured along with me, whether it's a margarita or a bourbon rita, or you have some mezcal in front of you. But let's go ahead and get into our tasting tonight. I'll set my margarita off to the side. Thanks again, Donnie, for the recipe. But we're going to get started with their first, I guess, their main expression here. This is their barril. I probably yeah. So that basically is a variety of agave. It's actually part of Karwinski. I'm going to put a graphic up here. Hopefully it helps make sense. So the actual variety of agave that they use for their main expression right here is called, let me find my banners. I have too many things to pull up. All right, so this one is the barrio. So Karwinski, I think, is the actual name of the variety of agave that this first one is. It's 45% ABV. And if you're curious what that looks like, lucky for you, I have a photo if I can find it. So this is what this type of agave looks like. It's very like thinned out, right? Like some of them, they're more like, bunched up and kind of like more like a pineapple type style. But this one is like very wide, very open. And it's one of the more common types of agave used for mezcal. So this is the first one we're starting with tonight. So let's go and get in our glass, shall we? So this is going to be probably the lighter and the fruitiest of all these tonight. Each of these different styles actually have a different like flavor profile. So with mezcal, a lot of times people will just dismiss it all as smoky, which it's true. A lot of it is smoky because they use those clay pots that they heat with like actual like fire, and that kind of gives it a smokiness. But actually, they're not all that smoky. Some of them have just a light smokiness, which is really interesting. But this one, I do have some more info since I have a full-size bottle of this one. So this one is bottle number 76 of 420. Good number there. So they always name the mezcal. There's the word. That's what I was looking for. Maestro Mezcalero, which is the equivalent of master distiller. This one is Armando y Alvaro Hernandez Lorenzo, and I think it's probably the same for all of these. That's basically their master distiller. This was cooked in an earth hole, which, like I said, like a hole in the ground, and it was milled by a stone mill. Natural fermentation in wooden barrels, and distilled twice in copper pot. Again, they give you all this info on the back, which is very common with mezcal. Again, this spirit is super like, I guess it's very cultural. Like people are really proud of it. Not that people aren't proud of whiskey and stuff, or just tequila in general, but it's really heritage focused. They love featuring, the farms that single estates that they're pulling these agaves from. They're really proud of it. I actually have a quote here from a man by the name of Francisco Javier Perez Cruz. He's the founder of, that's a long word. It's basically a co-op of small mezcal producers in Mexico. And he says that mezcal is not only an alcoholic beverage. For us, it's a part of the culture, part of the people, the history of Mexico. It's an artisanal product. He said it's hard to find beautifully handmade spirits. There's care and intention to them. There's a heartbeat to it that isn't in spirits that are industrially made. So us bourbon lovers kind of know that. We get that same kind of feeling for some of our smaller distilleries, but they're very, very passionate about their almost said whiskey. They're very passionate about their spirits. So got this in the glass here. Let's go and give this one a nose. This is, like I said, the barril. Okay, that's very traditional. It's definitely what I expect when I smell the mezcal. It does have a good bit of that smoky backbone. I will say it's very sweet though. It's like sweet and maybe a little bit it's smoky, yes. And when I say smoky, if anyone's never had mezcal, it's similar to a smoky scotch. However, it's less of like the iodine kind of smoke, and it's more of like the ashy, earthy kind of smoke. I mean, I think of some scotch, like Isla scotches like Kalila, that kind of lean towards that earthy kind of, or even some Lagavulin, even that's a little more briny. It's kind of got that smoky, ashy kind of note to it. Very, very strong if you're not expecting it. Very different from most tequilas. But you obviously look beyond that, just like you would with a Isla Scotch. You look to see what you can get other than the smokiness. So let's go to give this a taste. Salud. Oh yeah, the smoke is way more obvious on the nose of this one. I think on the palate, it's very, very balanced. It's got a really nice body to it. And the smoke kind of lingers on the back, and the finish goes smoky, but it starts out really sweet. Their tasting notes say it's fruity. To me, I'm not getting so much fruit on this one. Again, I'm not super experienced with mezcal, so I'm gonna be learning a lot tonight as I taste through these different expressions. To me, though, it's just like a really nice sweet, kind of like a confectionery sugar kind of note, not like brown sugar or molasses, but just like a very sweet powdery sugar and then smoke. Honestly, this is what I used for my mezcal rita, and it's absolutely delicious in this cocktail. Now, I think this is a bit pricey of a bottle, so I don't know if they recommend putting it in a mezcal, or in a margarita, but I'm really, really enjoying it that way. So I think this one, to me, it's simple, but it's also really good. It's not overly smoky. It has a really nice body to it. So I'm really excited to see where we go from here and see how these change, because I'm going to leave a little bit of this in my glasses. Like I said, this is like the base one here. I'm going to go work through these other samples as we move along. Sure, Kitty says it's like Kilholman instead of Laphroaig. Yeah, so it's definitely a lot. They're both smoky, but like subtle differences in their smoke. Salty Lettuce in the house. Cheers, everyone. Hope you're having a fantastic evening. Well, cheers to you, Mr. or Mrs. Salty Lettuce. I've seen you in a few other people's chats. So good to see you. Thank you for coming on over and learning something new along with us, because I'm learning too. Yeah, Zover is a fan of the earth roasting. Oh, there we go. Some more info about the ones that are called tequila. Must come from these 5 states: Guanajuato, Jalisco. I don't know. I'm not familiar with a lot of these states. Only one I know is Jalisco. Only one I've been to Jalisco, and what is the other one that like Tulum and Cancun are on? I forget what that state's called. I'm blanking for a second. Is it Oaxaca? No, it's not Oaxaca, is it? I don't know. Anyways, let's go and move on to the second one here tonight. Again, that gave me a good base reading. Now, the next one is actually kind of interesting. So it's the same Karwinski variety, which is the same type of agave. However, this is a wild varietal of it. So let's see what we have here. So this one, I have a photo of it to help out. So it looks very, very different. So this is what this one looks like. So again, this one grows tall, more traditional, like what you would expect. Whereas the other one was very wide leaves. These like go straight up in the air. These, like they say, they are cylindrical, stalk-like shaped piña, with leaves spreading at the top. It's often slightly smaller than another expression, which we're going to be trying later, and yields intensely flavored mezcal with high minerality and spice notes. So this was going to be, the first one was very light, very beginner focused. This one, though, we're really going to step up the flavor. So I'm really excited to see how it expresses itself. Um, Donnie says my margarita has kicked in, moved on to hard Mountain Dew. Oh man, Donnie, I've been wanting to try that. I hate to admit it, but I've been wanting to try that. How is it? Is it good? Fred dropping some more knowledge here. It's actually possible to have zero smoke in mezcal. Some cook them again in clay ovens above ground. That's correct. Yeah, some of them do use more modern techniques similar to tequila, so it's not all going to be smoky. However, a lot of these like artisanal ones are very like traditional, so they're going to cook it in the clay pots or the wood fired pots that they use to distill it or to ferment it in. So a lot of them are smoky, but you're right, they don't have to be, and that's a great point to mention. Adriana says the first one looked more like a huge aloe vera. You're right, it did. A lot of these, it's weird how different these are. Some of these later on, the last one I'm going to show you is going to like really blow your mind. Scott from My Bourbon Journeys in the house. What's up, Scott? Good to see you, man. We're doing not bourbon tonight. We are doing mezcal because it's Cinco de Mayo. I got to change it up a little bit. We're good to see you. Y'all make sure to check out Scott, My Bourbon Journey. Check out his channel. Also check out the Mash and Journeys barrel picks, which I have a pick with them coming up soon. I've already done the pick, but it is a Jack Daniel's single barrel proof that I helped them pick a while back ago. So I'm really looking forward to that one. Can't wait to see the stickers. I've kind of got some teasers on how they're going to look, and I'm so excited. Donnie says the regular is better than the Baja Blast, at least better than Baja Blast. Oh wait, is there a Baja Blast hard Mountain Dew? Oh my god, I need to go back to South Carolina. I'm sure it's available there. Maybe not out here in California. Sorry, I did say modern. They just say it's more of a modernized technique because it's more in line with other distilled spirits. That's what I meant by modern, but good point. So, anyways, let's go ahead and move on to the second slide. This one is I don't know if this is pronounced quiche or quiche because I looked at two different people and they pronounced it two different ways. So I'm not sure how to pronounce this right here. I think it's quiche or quiche. But either way, that's what we're moving to next. Like I said, this is the more wild version of the one we had earlier. So it should taste a little similar, but they say this one's going to be very minerally and has a little bit more earthiness to it. So let's see how it is. Eric says we're all looking forward to that Jack Daniel's single barrel proof. Me too, man. I still taste it. Like I wish I would have saved some of the sample because it was so good. Donnie says there's regular Baja Blast, black cherry, and watermelon. That is very dangerous information for me to know, Donnie. I'm actually going to Las Vegas on Saturday, and there's a Taco Bell cantina there where they have the frozen Baja Blast, but you can add tequila to it, or you can add rum or vodka. Might have to get one of those in honor of that. I don't think you can add Mountain Dew to it. I mean, I guess maybe. Well, I guess if it's a Baja Blast, it already has Mountain Dew, so I could just add some tequila to it, and that'd be similar enough. All right, so this one. It's also 45% ABV, by the way. Let's go ahead and give this one a nose. Oh yeah, very, very different. Whereas the first one, let me smell the first one again. The first one was light and then a little smoky on the back end. This one, the notes are correct. It's very earthy. It's more of like, it actually smells like clay. Like you can kind of get the essence of that clay pot that it was made in. Yeah, it's like, it's not like a dirty kind of note. It's more of just like a rock or soil. Not soil, soil is not the word. Like a rock. They said minerality. I think that's a pretty good way to put it. All right, let's go ahead and try it. Cheers. Oh, wow. Whoa. That's amazing. Not gonna lie. That literally brings me back. It has, okay, this is gonna be a weird comparison, but bear with me. If you've ever gone to like a cave, it's just like, yeah, everyone just casually goes to a cave. No, but if you've ever gone to like in Mexico, they have a lot of cenotes, which are like underground, like rivers and like caves. There's like a smell in the air that is like that rock, the stone that it's made out of, mixed with kind of like a water. I mean, with the water, but like a river note. You know, like not like fresh water, but like I guess it is technically. I'm having a hard time putting this into words. It's like a stream. It kind of smells like you're going down to the river, but there's a lot of like stones around. Like you're smelling a bit of that like that minerality mixed in with some of that like I don't know how to put. I don't want to say like it's really hard to describe. It doesn't sound very appetizing, but I mean this in the best way. It really takes you to taste that terroir of this area, and that's a big part of mezcal. They really focus on the terroir, kind of like wine. You're supposed to taste the region that it's from, and this one, I tell you, this one you can absolutely. I got to go in for a second sip of that one. By the way, thank you, Fetty. Says it's pronounced A sound as in, oh, okay. So it's like quiche. Quiche, thank you. Like I said, I saw a couple different way people pronounce it. So, and I could also be misremembering. So thank you so much for that. I got to taste this again. That was so interesting. Like it starts out the same, but it has like this. It almost goes black pepper. If I'm gonna go with more familiar terms, it almost goes black pepper, but it's more of like black pepper and salt mixed together, kind of like a like Himalayan sea salt kind of like note to it, but like black pepper. Again, it's so hard to describe because it's not a flavor I'm very familiar with. But I will say it definitely transports you to like I feel like I'm actually outside as I'm drinking this. I'm curious how this would taste outside. We need to pull a Whiskey Mountains in here and go outside, go into a cave, and then try this mezcal. I'd be very curious to see how it tastes there. um, so Sugar says caves are often calcium that makes hard water when it's dissolved. Yeah, it's got a bit of that element to it. It doesn't have the texture of like hard water, but it does have a little bit of that taste there. Whiskey Fancy's in the house. Maybe limestone. Yes, limestone is a great way to put it as well. It's that like rock, like I don't want to say mossy rock. That doesn't sound good, but it's like rocks and nature and water. That's the best I'm gonna be able to describe this one. But yeah, this is a huge step up in my opinion. Now, pricing wise, they're very hard to get. I know this basic one. I say basic. I shouldn't say basic. Let me just do a quick search to see what they're like in my area. I'm not sure where all these are available. I don't have that info from the folks at Impex, but I do know it is available in some parts of Southern California. I see Mission Wine and Spirits has it. They have it for 90. So the first one I'm drinking, they have it for 90. Let me see if they have any of these other ones in stock so I can tell you about the prices. That's one thing I did not research. Oh yeah, they have them all. Okay, wow, awesome. So the one that we just tried is also 90. So both the original and this one are the same price, 89.99 here in Southern California. Oh man, knowing that's the same price, hands down would get this one. I would buy this one again. The first one, it's a little simple, I guess I would say. When we're getting to these really interesting varietals is where I find nuances that I really, really love. So let's go to Mexico and drink in a cave. I'm on board. Just tell me when. If y'all aren't subscribed to Whiskey Mountains, go check her out and Whiskey Fancies as well. All right, let's move on to the next one. Now, this one I've not tried any of these other ones yet, by the way. By the way, if y'all are enjoying this so far, please hit the thumbs up. It does really mean a lot. And if it's your first time watching, you're not yet subscribed, you can subscribe. I go live every Thursday night, same time, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern. Sometimes I do Saturday streams, but I also do a podcast. So that actually comes out tomorrow morning. This next episode, I'm reviewing a single barrel select of Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. First time reviewing a single barrel select of it. It's a 10-year-old release. Also talking about some new whiskeys coming out and some new video games, which explains why I'm wearing this Pac-Man shirt. You'll find out tomorrow. By the way, you see this little blue ghost here? Mr. Blue Ghost does not like my green screen. Even though he's blue, I have a hole right here. Anyways, y'all make sure, just search Bourbon Bites Podcast wherever you get your podcast at. Perry's in the house. Hello, my friend. Feliz Cinco de Mayo to you, my friend, as well. So I was gonna say amigos. I'm like, I already did a Spanglish translation there. So, so Zopher says I've only found it in Old Town Tequila Shop in San Diego. It's 90 here. Okay, so same price. Kathy Graves in the house. Kathy, good to see you. Hey everyone, cheers. Sorry I'm late. No worries. We're just getting started. We're only on our second one. We're about to move to our third though. If anyone's watching the replay, make sure to leave a comment below letting me know which mezcals you've tried or which of these you want to try. Because I'm really curious to hear what tasting notes sound best to you guys. All right, let's move on to the next one. So this one is Ciarudo. I'm probably mispronouncing it. Ciarudo, which is Americana. So this is actually rarely imported into the U.S. It's been cultivated by this distillery, Mal de Amor, to sustain its future. So you'll learn a lot of these plants are actually being used way more frequently than they're being grown. So we are facing somewhat of a crisis because mezcal is getting really popular, at least here in Southern California. I see it everywhere. And the farming has not caught up yet to the demand for it. But this one is actually one of the largest. I mean, let me show you all the picture. Y'all got to see this. So here's a photo I found of this variety. Again, it's similar in shape to the first one. It's a lot bigger. These can actually be up to 1,000 pounds in weight each. They take 15 to 18 years to fully mature before they are harvested. And they actually have to roast these a bit longer too. So with this release, they roast it for 5 days, which I think compared to the 3 days they normally roast it. And then they let it rest for 3 to 6 months in glass to kind of, I guess, mellow it out a bit. Now, this one's also bottled at 46% ABV, so we're jumping up one proof point there. But I'm really excited to see how this one grows or how this one tastes because it looks pretty epic. So let me finish off a little bit of that last one and go ahead and get this one poured. All right. Are y'all learning something? I'm learning something. Hopefully y'all are enjoying this. I love trying new things, and that's kind of what this channel is about. Like, yeah, bourbon's still the backbone. I mean, it's always gonna be a bourbon stream, probably every other stream, but I love experimenting and trying new things. I have a rum that I picked up recently too that I'd love to do a stream on sometime soon, but haven't quite decided when I'm gonna do that. So, all right. So this is the Ciaruro. By the way, these are all Joven, which is basically unaged. They could be aged up to 2 months, I think. But basically they're all clear spirits. You're not getting any of that oak. Now they do store them in oak barrels, but they typically used oak and they don't char them like they do bourbon. So you're not getting much color off of that. Some of these do have a little bit more color from the oak, but these are all very, very clear. So on the nose, it's honestly similar to it's like kind of in between the two. It has a little bit of the earthiness of the second one, but it has a lot more of the sweetness of the first one. Sugar Kitty says 1,000 pounds equals one big pina. Agreed completely. Whiskey Mountain says, whoa, pretty sure the Game of Thrones throne was inspired by that one. Ah, maybe so. Maybe so. Did I say Joven? Sorry, Hoven. I'm sorry. I'm from South Carolina. I'm learning. I promise. I love Mexican culture and learning about agave and all this stuff. I'm really bad at the language. So apologies, my friends. All right. So let's go ahead and, like I said, this one's it takes 15 to 18 years to mature. So I think we're going to get a lot more of those earthy notes, but I don't know. The sweetness is kind of confusing me. So I got to try it. Cheers. Oh, very different. This one, it has a bit of like a musty element to it. Again, y'all know that's not a bad note in my book. I describe whiskeys as musty all the time. I think of it like an old basement, maybe, like a grandmother's house kind of note. We used to have a relative whose house always had this smell. It wasn't like musty or dusty or anything like that, but it had this smell. It's like slightly sweet, but it has a little bit of that, like that man, I don't know how to describe it. A little floral. Honestly, this one does taste a little floral. Maybe a little bit of some kind of fruitiness there. This is definitely the fruitiest of them all. And it's honestly a little minty. It's got like a minty kind of like maybe like mint and lemon or something else there. Also, really, really interesting. Really, really good. This would make a fantastic cocktail. Now, I'm curious to see the price on this one. Let's see. Oh yeah, this one. This was a good bit pricier. This one's 130, but this one, wow, those flavors are very. They feel like they would contribute really well to a cocktail. I would love to try this. Maybe not in just like a margarita, because I love margaritas, but this one is worthy of like a really high-end craft cocktail. I would be really interested to see what some cocktail artists could do with this one. Yeah, it's got like, I really like that mintiness though. I wasn't expecting that. It's like a little bit like I said, like the old attic note with like some mint, a little bit of spice, like that black pepper spice comes back that we got on the last one. But very, very, you could tell. I had a good feeling that one was going to be higher priced based on how good it tasted. So I saw that that kind of was true. But wow, definitely. I mean, they're only going up from here. Now, I don't know the order I'm supposed to be tasting these in. I just am tasting them in a random order. I'm actually going up in proof. So I'm not sure if, we're tasting, they're all going to get more expensive or some of these might be lower. I don't know. We're just going with the flow. But hopefully y'all are having a good time. We're about halfway point. And y'all are sticking around. So that's good. That's good. Thank y'all for that. Yeah, so this is a good point. Remember what Zopher just said. He says, typically the more rare agaves tend to be pricier. Some of these coming up are going to be really, really rare. So we're definitely going to go up in price, but for the last one. All right, so let's move on to the next example here. Now this one is interesting because it's actually a blend of two different types of agave. This one is similar to the other word, Madre Quiche. That's so hard to say. And Coyota Verde. So this one is, like I said, a blend of two different styles of agave plant. Now I do have a photo. The Madre Quiche is similar to the Quiche we saw earlier, but this one is the second one here, the Coyote Verde. Here's what this one looks like. This one's a lot smaller. This honestly looks more like traditional, like what you would expect an agave plant to look like. There's definitely some cactus qualities to it too. But it is a bit, it's the no, I was gonna say it's a bit rare, but I actually don't know if it's rare, so I'm not gonna say that because I could be wrong. But this one is the youngest of the Americana agaves distilled. It's usually distilled when it's about 12 years old, compared to the one that was 15 to 18 years old earlier. Now it's actually cooked, fermented, mashed, and distilled together. All of these are, oh, sorry, the Madre Quiche and the Coyote Verde are. By the way, it's Coyote. I misspelled that in the banner. It's supposed to be Coyote, so that's a typo on my part. So those are actually blended together, and then they are cooked, fermented, mashed, and distilled while they're already mixed together. So that rest in glass for over 2 years. So this one sits for a lot longer. Now this one's higher ABV, 47.4% ABV. Now what I don't know and what I'd like to know is, why do they? We know that they like storing in glass because they want it to retain so many of the characteristics from the actual spirit versus taking on some oak like a aged tequila or an aged mezcal. Most mezcal is going to be the Joven ones that Zophar was talking about earlier. But I am curious to see why they would store it in glass. What do you guys think? My only guess is maybe it like mellows out a bit. It kind of like, I don't know. It's the only thing I can think of. It's like it's going to be really harsh when it first comes off the still, but maybe by sitting in the glass for months to years, it maybe mellows out. I really don't know, and I'm really curious to hear if you guys know that. Cool running is in the house, man. This margarita is getting to me. Cheers to you. Hope you're having a wonderful Cinco de Mayo. You need to do future stream Donnie meets the mezcals. I'd love to have Donnie on for sure. Whiskey Mountain says learning a friggin' ton. Didn't know such different species or how long for the plants to mature. Me either. I'm learning a lot as I did just most of this research was earlier today. I'm not gonna lie, I did procrastinate a little bit, but I was really blown away by the differences. Zophar says they rest it to let the spirit settle in its flavors. Yeah, that's kind of what I thought. It would kind of like, when I say mellow out, I don't mean like lose the flavor. I just mean like mesh the flavors better versus being so separated. It's hard to explain, but we're on the same point with that. Donnie says I am down with that. Yeah, Donnie, I need to have you on for a stream soon. We got to figure something out, something different than usual. Should be a ton of fun. But anyways, let's go ahead and get this one poured. This is, like I said, the blend of the two, 47.4% ABV. And while we're looking, let's go ahead and look up the price of this one. Let's see. Madre. That's it. No, that's not quite it. Okay. There's so many blends that they do, so I'm looking for this. Oh, here we go. $90. So we're back down to our starting price point. So this is back down to 90. Poured. Now this one, they list a lot of fruitiness on the tasting notes. I'm not going to read the specific fruits they say until I taste it, but I did see fruitiness. So let me go ahead and give that a nose. Oh yeah. This one, it tones down the earthiness that I was getting on all those other ones. Again, it's the youngest one that they've actually, or at least part of it is the youngest one that we've tried so far. And when I say young, we're not talking about the age of the spirit, which is important to note. They actually harvest it early. So they harvest it at 12 years versus the 15 to 18 years. And that alone makes such a big difference in the taste. Something I never knew. Huh. Yeah, it's definitely way more fruit forward. Honestly, this not citrus though. Do I want to say pear or apple? Maybe even tropical, maybe like pineapple. Yeah, that's kind of like a smoky, coconutty pineapple tropical drink. And again, another great one for a cocktail. That's so interesting on the nose. I can't wait to taste it. Cheers. Ooh, it's a bit of a kick on that one. It is a little bit higher proof, but that black pepper that has been in the background, the other ones comes forward at the front end of it, and then it goes very, very fruity. Like I said, I'm getting like a smoked pineapple ring kind of, maybe a little bit of coconut milk as well. Let's see, what do they say about it? They go the opposite direction. They say strawberries and raspberries, but it's all to each their own experience. But to me, this is very like it almost even has the texture of coconut water. It's really interesting. I think it has a little bit of that tartness of a pineapple. I will say this was not my favorite. I think this one is kind of a few steps backwards. It tastes most similar to the first one we started out here with tonight, which I still have a little bit of. The first one was the barril. Yeah, the barrel has less of the fruitiness. It's just sweet. This has fruitiness and sweetness. And the earthiness is not really quite there. But it's a really good intro one, though. Honestly, if you're intimidated by earthiness, this one that we're drinking right now might be the one for you. Just getting caught up in the chat. Moonshiners covers a bit about mezcal. Oh, interesting. I've only seen a little bit. I've never seen multiple episodes, but that's really interesting. I need to check that out. Fred with some info here. Madurado in vidrio, which is matured in glass, does mellow it as you were thinking. The flavors do evolve too, though, mostly due to oxidation. Very cool. Didn't realize that. Papaya. Oh, that's a good one, Emily. You know what? I've never gotten that note on a whiskey. I could see a bit of that too, though. It's not quite the closest thing I could put it on is like pineapple, but there is a little bit more. That tartness could very well be papaya kind of note. I'm just again not super familiar with papaya. It's not a flavor that I have as part of my normal cocktail routine. That's a really good one. Fruity pepper sends my brain to papaya. Very interesting. Yeah. I mean, I just cannot just really remember how that tastes, but but very cool. That's actually really interesting. I think a lot of people would see that as well. So Fred said, I may have missed it. Did I mention that the agave blue Weber is harvested for tequila 5 to 7 years? I did not mention it, but I didn't realize that either. Wow. So most tequila is 5 to 7 years. That's actually so much younger than everything else we're trying, because this is the youngest one here, and it's 12 years old, the actual plant. So it's really interesting that, maybe that explains why tequila is like more sweet, I think, because the first one was super sweet that we were having tonight. I don't know the logistics behind it, but very cool to learn a bit more about that one. Yeah, this one, it's not, like I said, it's not my favorite, but very interesting nonetheless. All right, y'all ready for the crazy one? This last one it's piqued my interest very, very much. So this last one is the one that I was telling y'all about. 1 second, let me have so many banners and stuff. So the last one is another blend. It's 2 different ones in one. This one is Jabali and Tepestate. I don't know exactly how to pronounce that. Tepestate, maybe. I don't know. Something like that. So this is another blend. This was the highest ABV so far, 48% ABV. Price-wise, let me see. This one's 120, so also up there in price. A little bit less than the Ciarudo, but still very up there in price. So this one is, let me show you a picture of it. This is the fun one. Look at this. Does this not look like something out of some crazy like alien, like futuristic world, like like Avatar or something? I swear this one looks super interesting. It's also very large, similar to the one that we were looking at earlier. But wow. Now I also mentioned Jabali. This is the Tepestate that we were talking about. The Jabali, I don't have a photo of it, but it's similar to some of the ones we saw earlier. However, Jabali is extremely rare and it's also difficult to work with. So it makes sense that this is one of the most expensive ones we're trying. Now, this one, the Tepestate, takes around 18 years to fully mature, and Jabali takes 15 years. So not only is Jabali rare, it has to be aged 15 years, and the Tepestate for 18 years. That's crazy. Now let me look at the chat and see how y'all are gonna how we mispronounced everything. 60 Hertz says Pachuga. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Again, I don't speak so much Spanish. I do love the higher ABVs though. But good to see you, 60 Hertz. Good to see you in the chat. Oh, what is Pachuga? Is it a brand? I'm not familiar with that. That one's awesome. I agree. It's like looks mystical as heck. Oh my god, Zofer. Oh my god, that's like the best comment of the night. He said, "Pretty sure you fought that in Dungeons and Drams." So if y'all don't know, I play a campaign of Dungeons and Dragons with our good friends Bill the Whiskey Dick, Ed from the Rock Gut Review, Jason from the Mash and Drum, and Molly from Hugging the Cactus. And we do that every Tuesday night, 6:30 Pacific, 9:30 Eastern. The link should be in the description to Dungeons and Drams if y'all are remotely interested in that. I'm new to Dungeons and Drams, so I'm learning along the way. So if you're new too, hey, just join us on Tuesday nights and pour a glass, because we're going to be drinking and playing, having a bit of fun with that. And I do fight a lot of moss monsters. Fred says most tequila brands that people know actually harvest even younger, before the plant's even ready, and use a nasty industrial and chemical process for extraction. Yeah, Fred is my go-to guy with tequila info. He's actually introduced me some of my favorite tequilas. Arete Fuerte, I think, is my favorite. It's a 101 proof Joven tequila. Fred introduced me to that one. It's amazing. Adriana says, why is it I immediately want to hug it, even seeing the spiky edges? Pachuga is a type of mezcal. There you go. Again, I'm learning so much tonight. OMG, send that to the whiskey. Oh man, I have to tell Bill to come check this out. Oh, there's some pronunciation. There we go. Havali. Well, I said Jabali. I don't know. I was going like Indian with it. Havali and Tepesh Tate. Tepesh Tate. I was close with the second one. I said Tepesh Tati. Tepesh Tate and Havali. Thank you. Thank you for that. By the way, I wish I was able to have a rep on from the brand to kind of talk us through these tonight. They weren't able to have someone to come on for that, but they sent me these samples, so I'm very, very grateful to the folks over at Mal de Amor. Again, I'm learning as I go, and I may have some inaccuracies in my descriptions, but I'm just experiencing this as some random gringo in Southern California. So this is my experience with it. So thank you, Emily, dropping the link for Dungeons and Drams. Good to see you. Oh, also, well, I saw you earlier, but good to see you dropping the link. Thank you for that, is what I meant to say. 60 Hertz says raw meat, usually chicken, is suspended in the vapor bath of the still, usually distilled for weddings and celebrations. So 60 Hertz, I've heard something similar with some rums, like some really funky rums. I heard they use meat in that too. Is it like some Jamaican rums use meat, or some very high end rums? I don't know. Jamaican rum's funky, y'all. I have some experience with it, but I need to try more of it. So that makes sense there. Okay, very interesting. So, all right, so let's go in and get this last one poured in the glass. Like I said, this is where's his pronunciation? Havali and Tepesh Tate. God, I hope the brand doesn't watch this and judge me. Hopefully they see that I'm appreciating their spirit a lot. So like I said, this is $120. What's the proof on it? 48% ABV. Let's give it a nose. Ooh, we're back in earthy territory. Still a good bit of that minerality there. Yeah, this is very reminiscent of the one that I was getting when I said smelled like a cave. That was the Quiche. And this one's very reminiscent of that one. It's not nearly as smoky as any of these other ones. Honestly, I have to search for the smoke. I'm just getting a lot of that earthy, that minerality. I'm really excited to try it. Salud. Ooh. Wow. That one is none of the sweetness I was getting. Honestly, I think I like these drier ones better. The ones that lack the sweetness. I think they're up my alley. They're more my flavor profile, especially when I'm going for a mezcal. So this one has kind of like a meaty quality to it. Why are we were talking about meat, but it was not related to this one. It's just weird because it has a kind of like not quite like, it maybe not even be meat. It may just be the char outside of a steak, like a little bit of that charcoal kind of char on a good steak. There's a little bit of that there. Still the earthiness, less minerality than the one that I said. Which one did I say? The quiche or quiche. That had way more minerality. This though, I need a second sip of that one. Yeah, I didn't smell the smoke, but this tastes very smoky. Honestly, it's like I said, like the char of like a steak, like the burnt ends of some barbecue. Not sweet though, not like a sweet barbecue sauce, but like a smoky, like burnt barbecue. Really, really nice. Now that one, I think that one's probably meant for drinking neat, because that in a cocktail I think would be really weird in a cocktail. I think on its own, it stands up on its own. It's got a really nice mouthfeel. It's got a lot of complexity to it. The finish is a little short compared to some of these other ones, but that's the definitely the smokiest and the meatiest of them all. That's actually a lot of people I could see really liking that, especially if you like a meaty kind of peat like Ardbeg or something like that. You might really, really enjoy this one. Wow, so different. Now I'm gonna go back through these. We got about 10 minutes left. I'm gonna go through and find out which one was my favorite here tonight. Which one do you guys think would be my favorite? Here's the options. So the first one we had was this one, the Baril. Then there was the Quiche, then the Ciarudo, then the Madre Quiche and Coyote Verde. Again, typo there. Or the Havali and Tepetati. Man, I'm getting struggling even more with these words as we go through. I see that you guys are offering recommendations to Whiskey Fancies. Yeah, definitely. Well, especially, being in Los Angeles area, you're going to find some really great options out here. K&L sometimes carries some. Honestly, I get most of mine from Mission Wine and Spirits. I'm not sure if there's one down close to where you guys are. Mission has a good bit of these. Honestly, Total Wine gets a surprisingly good amount of mezcal. at least in Southern California. So Adriana Whiskey Mountains thinks that my favorite one may be that first quiche. Yeah, I think it may be. I'm going to taste through them really quick. I'm going to start with the barril, the first one. That one is so light comparatively, and we're only talking like three proof points here. Just the flavor is so, I don't want to say basic, so entry level, while these other ones are so complex and so interesting. So if you are new to mezcal, you may really appreciate this one. But I think having limited but some experience, I think I prefer the other one. So we're gonna go ahead and move on to that one again, because I think that might be my favorite too. Let me go ahead and pour a little bit more of that one. By the way, did this make you guys want to start trying mezcal? I wish I had enough to give you guys samples. I would love to have done a giveaway for super chats. Unfortunately, the only one that I really have a full size of is this one. But yeah, so I didn't want to do a giveaway for one sample. But you know, I appreciate super chats anyways. But I'm just saying, like, I wish I had more to share. Is what I'm trying to say. All right, here's the quiche. So I think this may have been my favorite one as well. Oh yeah, so earthy. So that like, this is the only one that made me have an experience. Like like it literally took me to a cave. And I honestly haven't been to a cave in like 3 years. So like the fact that that immediately made me think of that was really interesting. Ooh, man, that one I can almost feel it. Like the ethers. What are they called? The fumes. Man, I'm it's hitting, the mezcal is hitting hard tonight, y'all. But this one kind of, I can feel it kind of like go to the back of my sinuses and really fill out everything. Like I said, it is like the full experience of being in a cave. This is, I mean, I'm gonna try the other ones, but I have a good feeling this is my absolute favorite. Let me try the Ciarudo again. This was the one that was the minty one. Let's see, this was the Americana one. 60 Hertz says I have a bottle of Gracias a Dios paint thinner and a great bottle of Nuestra Soledad Santiago Mazatlán, which tastes like a banana bomb. Ooh, banana. I don't think I've got banana on mezcal. That sounds really, you know, I'm going to have to, future Cliffy, look at this comment and check out that bottle. That sounds really interesting. I have had some pretty bad ones. Honestly, I'll admit this. I got duped into buying one on my way at a duty-free shop last time I left Mexico in March, so a couple months ago. It was one that I had seen at the resort that I stayed at, but I didn't try it. And I was kind of hating myself for not trying it at the resort. So I saw it at the duty-free shop. It was not that expensive. It was like $30-ish. Honestly, though, I got home and I tried it. I'm like, this is honestly the worst mezcal I've ever had. I'm not going to name the brand or anything because I don't want to like put down other people, but it did not stand up to the hype. I've honestly had some even cheaper ones, like cheaper than that I enjoy so much better. Honestly, if y'all are looking for like a good like mixing mezcal, now these I think are all sippers. Like these are like high end ones. But my favorite mixing mezcal is Monte Lobos. It's like a square bottle, silver and black, and has a wolf on the front. That one is delicious for cocktails. That's my go to when I make mezcal ritas. Tonight I use this one because I'm like, you know what? Why not use the high end stuff for the stream? So okay, did I pour that? I think this is still the one that I love. Oh yeah. Okay, so I poured it in this other glass. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm confused. Okay, this is the Ciarudo. Ciarudo. I can't roll my R's. I struggle with that in Spanish class. Ciarudo. Maybe something like that. Now this was the one I said was minty and kind of like citrusy. Also really good. Wow. That was the one that I said would be fantastic in a cocktail. It has so many like elements that I could just imagine being mixed with fresh fruit juice. This one is honestly, if I were to buy one for a cocktail, I think this was also expensive, right? Let me see. I think this was one of the most expensive ones. $130. This is the most expensive one tonight. So probably not, you know, unless you got a bigger budget than me, you may not want to mix this in a cocktail, but I can imagine some really nice craft cocktails using that. Oh, delicious. I think the quiche would be more difficult to use in a cocktail because it's so earthy. I think that's definitely a sipper. But this Ciarudo, I think it could be either way. All right, let me try the Madre Quiche and the Coyote Verde one more time. I'm tasting all the way through all these, and then I'll give them rankings for what I prefer. James Morgan in the house says, "Cool, yeah, definitely different than normal, but I had to celebrate. I wanted to be. I didn't want to, I mean, I know it's Derby week. I could have easily done like a Derby bourbon theme stream, but I honestly think I wanted to. I've been wanting to do mezcal for a while, so I'm glad to have an opportunity to do it. I see Whiskey Fits. I know she's asking, or I know they're asking Fred, but is it intro mezcal? Like I said, Monte Lobos is a cheap one. Although if you want to step up your game, obviously any of these that we tried tonight for sure. But in between price points, there's a brand called Del Maguey, which actually fun story. Del Maguey is the first popularized mezcal in the United States, and you know what? Even though mezcal has been made for centuries, it wasn't until the 1990s that it actually even got popular in the U.S. And that's all in part to Del Maguey. They were one of the first to come into the U.S. with a single estate mezcal. So they were, I'm sure, the inspiration behind this one. I think it's the same thing with like the big distilleries in Kentucky. Like they're inspired by others and they kind of build off of each other's successes. So that's my suggestion. But I know you're asking Fred. sorry to butt in there, Fred. But Fred has more experience than me in most situations. So all right, so I'm gonna try the first blend here. What was this one? The Madre Couche and the Coyote. So let me try that real quick. This is the one that I felt was thin, was fruity. I said it tastes like a grilled pineapple and a little bit of coconut water. Not my least favorite, but not my favorite, especially because that's pretty pricey. I think that one was, let's see. Oh no, actually that was only 90, so not actually that pricey, but definitely not one of my favorite. And then lastly, let me finish this and try the Havali. I feel like I'm learning. I feel like I'm getting better about these pronunciations. What do y'all think? All right, so this is the last one that we tried. I'm gonna try it and see if I can rank it. This is the one that's made with the rarest types of mezcal or agave. That one's honestly, that combines a lot of things that I like about all these other ones. Not quite as I don't like it quite as much as the other ones, but that's going to be a high ranker. Okay, so time for me to rank these from favorite to least favorite. I think they're all good. Favorite of the night is definitely, let me pull up my list. My favorite tonight was definitely this one. This one is really earthy. It really takes you to a place and it fills all your sinuses and senses. It's actually really, really good. That's my favorite. Second favorite would actually be the Ciarrudo, the Americano. This is the one that I said would be great in a cocktail. Has those citrus, those minty notes. Really, really fantastic. Third favorite would be the Jabali. I said Jabali. Havali. I'm trying. This was my third favorite. I think it combines a lot of the things that I like about the other ones. Doesn't do them quite as well, but it combines that sweet with the fruitiness, with the earthiness, with the smoke. Really delicious. Has a little bit of a meaty kind of element up to it there as well. And then least favorite. Honestly, I gotta say, I guess fourth favorite was this one. I think it was interesting. I think it would be really nice in a cocktail, but it just wasn't my favorite. And then the barril, the simple one, it's my least favorite because it's the most simple. And I don't mean simple in a bad way, but simple because of how complex and interesting these other ones were. Comparatively, it was the more simple, basic one of them all. But it's fantastic in a margarita. So Eric says, as someone who slept through like six years of Spanish class, I think you're nailing the pronunciation. Hey, if that works for me, if only I felt that confident in Mexico, because every time I travel to Mexico, I try to speak Spanish, but I lack confidence in like the way I say things. I immediately back down. I can understand Spanish way better than I can speak it. So if I were hearing someone else talk about this, I could probably, not interpret or translate, but pick up on certain keywords. But I appreciate the kind thoughts. All right, y'all. So this was a ton of fun. I hope y'all enjoyed this. Let me know if y'all want to see more fun stuff like this, different spirits. I love experimenting. Bourbon and whiskey are my first loves, but I love getting outside my comfort zone, trying things that are, very traditional, very traditional may not be the best word, but representative of other cultures. And I love experiencing other foods, other drinks. So one of my favorite things to do in life is to travel and experience other cultures. So hopefully you guys got to do a little bit of that tonight with this. If you have a chance to pick up any of these bottles, let me know in the comments below. If you come back later and try it along with me, love to hear what you guys think of it. Or if you're discovering this video just because you searched Mal de Amor, then glad to have you. Let me know which one you're drinking on. So thank y'all so much for watching. Those of you that are $10 tier and up Bourbon Megabytes on Patreon, I will see y'all at the after party hangout over on Discord. By the way, you guys can join the Discord server. Everyone's welcome. Bourbonbites.com. But there are exclusive VIP lounges for people that are on Patreon. So everyone's welcome to the Discord. But tonight we're going to hang with just the Bourbon Megabytes at the $10 tier for our after party hangout. So cheers, y'all. Keep an eye out for that episode of the podcast tomorrow. Like I said, Elijah Craig single barrel proof pick review, as well as some gaming news, including a really cool upcoming Pac-Man game. So cheers, y'all. Have a great rest of your night, and happy Cinco de Mayo. Buenas noches. Adios. Couldn't think of a way to close there, but adios works. All right. Cheers, y'all.